Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
Willie Nelson.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have been charged with a very unpleasant task. I didn't ask for this. It was thrust upon me, but we have got to decide once and for all who would win a battle between the legendary Johnny Cash and the equally legendary Willie Nelson. We're going to figure it out here today, right here, right now. This thing's going to be settled once and for all. I came up with a scientific formula. I don't know the results of this, but I can tell you one thing, this thing is razor thin close. So when we get to the end, I'll find out just along with you folks. So let's jump into the skinny of this battle. Johnny Cash versus Willie Nelson. Here's a quick breakdown. Johnny Cash, over 130 singles he charted onto the Billboard country charts. He had 14 #1 hits. His career spanned from the 1950s until the early 2000s, and he had songs that charted in 5 consecutive decades. Now, that's a very impressive resume, right? I think we can agree on that. Willie Nelson, he had 90 singles charted on the Billboard country charts. He had 25 #1 hits, but that does include duets and collaborations. For example, the classic To All the Girls I've Loved Before with Julio Iglesias. But he also had major success as a songwriter. A lot of people forget that he wrote Crazy for Patsy Cline, which is a country classic. He wrote Hello Walls that Farron Young made a smash hit back in 1961. And he also wrote Funny How Time Slips Away, which he did a version of himself. But he also, Billy Walker had a hit with that back in 1961. So he wrote a lot of songs that other singers took to great heights on the charts. So let's not forget about Willie Nelson as a songwriter. Johnny Cash. What iconic songs does he have? He has a million. I can only choose 5 here, so let's just go with I'll Walk the Line. That was his first #1 hit. Ring of Fire, instantly recognizable. It was written by June Carter Cash, and it became one of his biggest hits. He had Folsom Prison Blues, which of course is well remembered for one of the greatest lines ever in country music history. I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. You can't beat that. And he had legendary prison concerts, as we all remember. So he also had A Boy Named Sue, the song written by Shel Silverstein, was such a massive, humongous crossover hit. And he had a big comeback song, Hurt, that he did with Rick Rubin, cover of the old 9 Inch Nails song. So that was a haunting and deeply emotional song. Let's look at Willie Nelson. So his iconic songs, who could ever forget On the Road Again? That's his anthem. It won a Grammy and got all the radio play you could ever want. He had Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. That was his first #1. He had Always on My Mind, which was of course, a tender, heartfelt ballad that Elvis had done before him. He had Whiskey River. He often opens his shows with that song. It's just a fan favorite. And he also had the immortal Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys that he sang with Waylon Jennings. So that's, of course, an outlaw country classic. Had huge appeal then, has huge appeal now. So we look at also the cultural impact. So Johnny Cash, he's the man in black. He's a rebel with a message. His music crossed genres, and his image is mythical, even today, 20-some odd years after his passing. Willie Nelson is outlaw poet, philosopher of the highway. He's known for his laid-back delivery, an immense songwriting catalog, and he also is known a little bit for his habit, but we won't talk about that too much. But they both had massive impacts on country music. Johnny Cash of course, he's the man in black. He had the crossover appeal. He blurred the lines between country, rock, folk, and even gospel. And he really helped country music reach some broader audiences. He was a cultural icon. He had a gritty, rebellious spirit that he brought to the genre. He was a voice for marginalized people, prisoners, outlaws, the poor. His legacy was hits like Folsom Prison Blues, Ring of Fire, I Walk the Line. And they're not just country classics, those are American music staples. And he was a great storyteller. All his songwriting and his singing emphasized raw, honest storytelling with spiritual and moral undertones. Willie Nelson, the red-headed stranger as he's known. Outlaw movement leader, he really helped redefine Nashville. Back in the 1970s, he led that outlaw country movement with laid-back, rootsy style. He was a songwriting genius, of course. We spoke about writing Crazy, and that is absolutely an iconic country song for Patsy Cline. He has the longevity and versatility, still at it in his 90s now. So he has crossed genres. He's collaborated with everybody from Waylon Jennings to Snoop Dogg, and he's still culturally relevant. But we're going to find out right now, there can only be one winner. We don't have draws on here. These are 2 men, and they're going to come out like men. There will be one winner, and that's the end of the story. So Your winner and new champion of this battle between two country legends, there's gotta be a better way to put that, will be the one and only, the Man in Black, Johnny Cash. And it says the factors, the reasons for he gets the win are his global recognition. He's not just a household name in country music. He isn't just music history. He's one of the few country artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Gospel Music Hall of Fame, and his image and voice still echo all these years later across generations. He had impact outside of music. His prison concerts, his activism, and his late career revival, like that Hurt cover we've talked about, made him a towering figure in American culture. So Willie Nelson is not far behind. He has nothing to, it was a split decision. This is razor thin, razor close, but ladies and gentlemen, our winner is the Man in Black, Johnny Cash. Congratulations, Johnny Cash. We'll move on to another battle down the road.